Okay, in this session we'll be continuing our discussion on transducers. We know basically a transducer is a element which converts one form of energy into another form, and it consists of two elements. One is a sensing element and the other one is a transduction element. Sensing element receives the input and the transduction element gives the output, and the input and output will be mostly in different energy form. Input may be something sort of a variation in resistance, capacitance, inductance, stress or strain, whereas output may be something like a change in force, displacement, pressure, sound or magnetic flux or something like that. And we'll see in detail the function of each of these elements. The sensing element deals with the physical quantity under consideration. It measures the physical quantity or its rate of change, and it will give a proportionate output to the transduction element. In the transduction element, it will convert the output of the sensing element into electrical quantity. So that is a basic function of these two elements. But in some transducers there won't be separate sensing as well as transduction element, rather these things will be combined together into a single element which will receive the input and generate electrical output. One example may be a thermocouple. In thermocouple, based on the temperature changes and in the junction, it will generate a corresponding electrical signal or EMF will be generated. So that is how generally a transducer works. We'll see a particular type of transducer which is a strain gauge. Basically it's a resistance based transducer. So in the coming session we'll be seeing in detail about the strain gauge. The strain gauge basically measures strain, or in other words it measures the pressure or weight acting on it. So these are the applications of strain gauges, and it looks like a thin wafer like structure as you can see in the image, and it will be often connected to the physical quantity where we need to measure the pressure or force or weight acting on it. This in the image you can see the strain gauge is connected or it attached to a pipe, a metallic pipe, and where we need to measure the strain acting on the metallic pipe. And coming on to the working principle or principle of operation of strain gauge. Strain gauge is a passive transducer, means it doesn't require external energy sources, and converts a mechanical displacement into change of resistance. So that is the basic principle of a strain gauge. It converts mechanical quantity into corresponding change in resistance. So a strain gauge is a thin wafer-like device that can be connected to a variety of materials to measure applied strain, as we discussed earlier. So metallic strain gauges are manufactured from small diameter resistance wire, basically composed of resistance wires that can be stretched upon action of strain. So based on the stretch of this metallic wire, the resistance will change, and according to the change in resistance we will be able to get the quantity in electrical terms. The change in resistance can be will be proportional to the applied strain, and you can see a diagram here which is of a Wheaton's bridge. Wheaton's bridge is used to measure the unknown resistance. So one limb of the bridge is connected to a strain gauge so that we can measure the resistance of that particular strain gauge or the resistance wire. So this is how it works. And now in this session we will be deriving an expression for gauge factor. So gauge factor is a very important quantity regarding the strain gauge, and it is represented as strain gauge K equal to delta R by R divided by delta L by L. So delta R by R represents the unit change in resistance, whereas delta L by L is a unit change in length. So it is a factor of unit change in resistance to unit change in length. So the K is gauge factor, R is a resistance of the conducting wire, delta R change in resistance, L is the length of the wire, delta L is the change in length. So that is what gauge factor is, and we need to derive an expression for gauge factor of strain gauge. And the denominator quantity here, it is delta L by L, which is again called as strain. The expression for strain is change in length by original length. So that is strain, we know. And this change in length by original length can be represented with the alphabet sigma. So the gauge factor, expression for gauge factor can be rewritten as delta R by R by sigma. And we already studied an expression for resistance of a conducting material with regard to the material, the type of material. So that is R equal to rho L by A, the classical equation for resistance. R equal to rho L by A, where L is the length of the conducting wire and A is the area of cross section. So R equal to rho into length by area. It can be represented as R rho into L divided by pi by 4 d square. Then pi by 4 d square will be the area of cross section, where d is the diameter of the resistance wire. And now we are going to consider the strain acting on the resistance. When the resistance wire is strained, it will make some deformations in the shape of the wire. That means there will be elongation of the wire, means length will increase. The new length will become L plus delta L, resulting in a corresponding reduction in diameter. When the length increases, the diameter will slightly decrease. So the decrement in diameter may be represented as delta D. So upon considering the resistance wire, upon strain, after applying strain, that is RS, resistance after applying strain, which is equal to rho into L plus delta L divided by pi by 4 d minus d whole square. So d is changed to d minus d and L is increased to L plus delta L. While expanding the d minus d delta d the whole square term, we will be able to get d square minus 2d delta d plus delta d the whole square. Since the delta d itself is very small, then delta d the whole square will be much smaller. So we will neglect that delta d the whole square part, and the remaining terms are remaining terms can be represented like this: the 1 plus delta 2 delta d by d, the 1 minus 2 delta d by d. And upon taking the d square term common, so this d square term taken common, and so that that d square instead of the d square, that 1 will come, and 2d delta d, upon taking d square common, it will become 2 delta d by d. So that is how the denominator changes. In the numerator portion, you take the L term common, L square, so you take the L square term common, in the numerator portion, upon taking L term common, it will become L into 1 plus delta L by L. So it is 1. Instead, there may be confusion that it is L, but it has to be considered as 1. So L into 1 plus delta L by L. So that is how the numerator comes. And so we got a new expression for resistance upon strain. Now we are again going to consider another quantity called Poisson's ratio. Poisson's ratio is defined as the ratio of lateral strain to longitudinal strain. That means mu equal to delta d by d divided by delta L by L. Lateral strain by longitudinal strain. So this is a already known equation, Poisson's ratio. Using this Poisson ratio to reduce the equation number 2, we'll get expression for delta d by d as delta d by d. So this quantity delta d by d is equal to mu into delta L by L. Delta d by d will be equal to mu into delta L by L. Okay, so we replace that quantity over there in the equation number 2. Instead of delta d by d, you replace mu into delta L by L. So the new expression is obtained. This is Rs equal to rho into L into 1 plus delta L by L divided by pi by 4 d square into 1 minus 2 mu delta L by L. So that is how the new expression is obtained. Okay, now so we got a new expression for Rs. Now what we are going to do is we are going to rationalize the equation. We are going to rationalize. So what do you mean by rationalizing? Rationalizing means we already have a 1 minus 2 mu delta L by L term in the denominator. What we are going to do is multiplying and dividing it with 1 plus 2 mu delta L by L. Okay, that is what you mean by rationalizing. So multiplying and dividing with 1 plus 2 mu delta L by L. Okay, upon rationalizing we will be able to get, so this expression, a new expression for Rs, and where we can see this quantity upon multiplying with 1 plus 2 mu delta L by L, we will be able to get, removing the braces, we will get 1 plus 2 mu delta L by L plus plus 1 plus this 1 plus 2 mu delta L by L plus delta L by L. There is a small correction here, the 2 will not come, delta L by L plus 2 mu delta L by L into delta L by L. So that is how the new term come, and the denominator term will become a plus b into a minus b, which is a square minus b square. That is 1 minus 4 mu square delta L by L the whole square. Okay, that is how we will get a new expression. And by multiplying, so here we have delta L and delta L, a delta L by L and delta L by L. So multiplying these two together, we will get delta L square by L square, delta L square by L square. And so that is all about this portion. And we finally got an expression for Rs. So this is the actual expression for strain resistance, but we are making some sort of considerations. Since delta L is very small, delta is a very small quantity, so the higher powers of delta L, means delta L square, delta L cube and all, will be much smaller, so that we can neglect the higher powers. So the delta L square terms, here in numerator as well as denominator we have delta L square terms, that will vanish. So that can be neglected, or that can be considered to be 0. So that portions can be eliminated. So finally what we will get, so this portion delta L by pi by 4 p square term will come here, and the other quantity will be 1 plus 2 mu delta L by L. These terms will come there. Okay, so we will get a new expression for Rs equal to 1 rho L by pi by 4 d square, 1 plus 2 mu delta L by L plus delta L by L. So upon taking the delta L by L terms common, we will get 1 plus 2 mu plus 1 delta L by L. And just rearranging 1 plus 2 mu plus, instead of 2 mu plus, rearrange it to get 1 plus 2 mu. So we will get an expression for Rs like this. Okay. And now from the previous expression, you take the rho L by pi by 4 d square term into the brackets. Then you will get a rho L by pi by 4 d square plus 1 plus 2 mu by 2 mu into delta L by L rho L by pi by 4 d square. So that is how you get the new that is how you get this expression. R is equal to rho L by pi by 4 d square plus rho L by pi by 4 d square into delta L by L 1 plus 2 mu. Okay, now we got the expression. Now what we are going to do is, we already know the equation for resistance, which is rho L by pi by 4 d square. Equation of resistance is R equal to rho L by pi by 4 d square. So upon considering the new equation for RS, you can find the resistance part, rho L by pi by 4 d square, and a new term, that the remaining portion, so the remaining portion is a new term added to the resistance term. So then that portion can be considered as delta R. So the delta R added to the original resistance. Okay, R is equal to R plus delta R. So we can we will be able to consider that equation like that. So we got a expression for delta R. So the expression for delta R will be the remaining portions in the equation. Okay, remaining portions in this equation. So delta R equal to rho L by pi by 4 d square into delta L by L into 1 plus 2 mu. So we got an expression for delta R. Since we got an expression for delta R, that can be replaced in the expression for gauge factor. We know the expression for gauge factor is K equal to delta R by R divided by delta L by L. So substituting delta R over there, and we already know this delta L by pi by 4 d square term is R. Or dividing delta R by R means that terms will get cancelled. So remaining quantity will be delta L by L into 1 plus 2 mu. So that term comes there in the numerator portion, and the denominator will be delta L by L itself. Okay, again in the numerator and denominator you can find delta L by L, so that these terms get cancelled, so that you will be getting 1 plus 2 mu. K equal to 1 plus 2 mu. So this is a final simplified expression for gauge factor, K equal to 1 plus 2 mu, where mu is the Poisson's ratio. Poisson's ratio means lateral strain by longitudinal strain, the ratio of lateral strain by longitudinal strain, that is material specific. For each material it will change. So finally we got a expression for gauge factor. And now a small note on gauge factor. So we know gauge factor is K equal to 1 plus 2 mu, where mu is the Poisson's ratio. Poisson's ratio varies in between 0.25 and 0.35. For usual resistance material, it will change in between 0.25 and 0.35, so that the resistance value will be the gauge factor value will be 1 plus that 2 mu. So it will become 1 plus it will be varying in the range 1.5 to 1.7. And what we intend is a larger gauge factor. As the gauge factor increases, the variation in resistance for a unit change in length will increase. Okay, so a larger value of gauge factor is more desirable. So for increasing the gauge factor, what we can do is choose a material having high Poisson's ratio. Okay, that is how we choose gauge factor for a particular application.